Alofa, mahalo le soifo manguia, ia ilingei fo ia sofo le kua, vi le kua. Hello and greetings. Lawanganuu Faasoa here. Matua na lua le nuu. Oloie alai malo. Today, I want to talk about a title that I almost didn't accept and why I said yes anyway. So, that title is Oloie. Now, Oloie, my dad had that title. It is with the Utu family from Amaoli, American Samoa. And my dad held that title. He was the first to hold the title for several years before he passed in 2014 under High Chief Utu Abe Malaya. And Oloie is the name of our land in Awasi, that land from the Utu family. It's most of Awasi. It's called Oloie. So that's where that name comes from. And my dad passed in 2014, and about maybe 4 years after that, 2018, received a call from my cousin, Oloie, who's also a Matai in the Utu family. And he informed me, goes, hey, Utu is looking at all the vacant Matai titles, and he wants to fulfill them. And so he's giving first dibs to you and your sibs, which is pretty cool, right? It's like, wow, it's a good courtesy. It's a sign of respect and love from him as a leader, right? Let me tell you why this is very good. And I think all the Sa'os should do this. Whenever there's a vacant title, you think about who held that title, especially if they held it for years, right? Because that title becomes very sentimental within the family. Because when you hear that name, you think of that person, right? So when someone say they held the title for 20 years, 30 years, 40, whatever, that person passes away, that title is very sentimental to the children, to the grandchildren, and so on, right? And so I think it's only rightful, it's only appropriate and respectful to offer the title to those folks first, just like the scenario that Utu gave, right? And I think it's a good learning point for all leaders. I don't know, some families don't do that. Some families do. They do that, and it's part of their fabai. But I was fortunate that Utu offered it to us first before, putting it out to the rest of the family. So I think that was really cool. So when Oloie called and he asked if any of us were interested, I was like, let me get back to you. So I talked to my siblings. Nobody was interested. Now I already had my Matai title, Matua na lua, from Batia on my mom's side. And I was like, man, I almost said no. We did. And it's probably because I was not too familiar with the family, Utu family. Not really close to my dad's family, both sides. Salanoa, his mom's side, or the Utu side. It's kind of like, well, le fwangale ele masa. You're not comfortable, right? But if I've thank God, Holy Spirit telling me, ili kau kuusay masa. Pafilang ngay masangi peale aluye. And probably the biggest one is the opportunity to serve. Yeah, ese alo serve my overkia, right? Ililo may sisila yung alo kama. Serve nga alo le ay ngalo kinga ba fele e kule lo kama, right? So I think those are some of the thoughts that I was dealing with, and of course, advice from my wife. It's like, yeah, ole si le avongoa le au maua. E kaunga e whaangai, ia e kaukua lo ai, kaukua le ainga lo kama, mapa masangi fo ia. So I'm so thankful I said yes. I said I'll take on the Oloie title. So in 2018, I was bestowed the title Oloie. And not only that, the way I was able to be bestowed the title was not being there. And that's kind of, I think nowadays they won't allow that. E siau polo e asuripu o swafa kikelele o polo ma sawa. A o kuku ila kele o swafa ia makai vai pou kai kula fale. So ele asua ipo because mako waya ngal fai leo. Just do an induction. Wait for ng'u. Yeah, au mai uma makai fou ia, au mai luma ng'u. Fai le fanga, fai falolonga i makai kua ainga, that's it, right? Ele asu so ipo langa ele so pou. So it's a little more it's not as big as asungi ipo because the titles aren't the same. But anyway, I was able to get the title without being there. And that's huge because le whawae fui le ngua mo e kaunga ia. E ka kawanga ia, ngā ka ua le vai mai o koi. Nga ke ngofo mai. Oi ka le, o so Samoa. O la koa vai. E le ale. Le fai le o. Le ngofo mai. Ia e whaakai le kua. I la ko whalwalo ia utu. Nga sao ngoa ia utu. Ia whamalir ka kongu. I le o mai ia Oloie ia matoa. Toa vate te show. My cousin, right? She couldn't make it either. But we were able to get bestowed the titles from afar. Yeah, iala la fionga ya utu. Malonga sa wanga nga whailu malu. Ya kalia ngu. Ya whekalai loa mangaya. Ya sau se keimi e. Kako whailua i ma Oloie ma toa ilo vate te a mor keminge. Ya ele a whainga. Nga whai umama sa whanga kupe o mea ai. O ngai whalolonga. Mo makai kua ngu. Ya lenga whai Samoa. But we were here in America. So thankful for that as well. E anga le ai fo meanga. Ya ele kupu ele kaulau le wha moi moi. Awa penge ia le o iaise swafa lo Oloie. Ai whafkai le kua i o ngā ala ese ia. Ya le ngā kaungu ai le wha moi moi. Ya vi ele li. So, and that's one part, right? Saying yes, then being able to get accepted, given exception by the village through High Chief Utu and being bestowed the title. But probably the biggest lesson for me is the one, that my wife advised. It's an opportunity for you to serve your dad's family. Because following the bestowment of the title, now I'm obligated. Now I have to participate. And every time I go to Samoa, I go to Amaoli, it's so good to just get in there and be a part of your family. Even if you're not familiarized, even if you're not comfortable, even if you didn't grow up with them. And then for them to welcome you, it's a whole different feeling, right? Angangi kangaka whangara wapea, oele ngō fōura. they're not welcoming or, helpful and like, making you feel comfortable, it'll be way more difficult, right? But afo wafakaile ko I simako ai ile sangsangi very very organized, very friendly, very respectful of each other. And I love how the Utu family does things. It's almost like, you know, something I'm familiar with, the way the military does. Very structured, uh, very cognizant of the protocols. Le ngaka le ngu'u, au le ainga, right? Ma e kausi le la ko le ainga. Kausi le la ko le whawai. And I really admire that about them. Not to say my mom's family doesn't do that, but I just think this is at a much higher level. And I really appreciate the opportunity. I was really grateful for being part of the circle, going with Makai, and then being able to serve on that side. And I think some of this kind of rendered from my dad not taking us to his family when we were younger. I think he was ready to like, he was bye bye Samoan. He was good for just being here in the States and just, living his life, right? Uh but I think it was my mom that kind of pushed him in his later years, like Kimiwa, Wakumako Isamo, like in 85 or whatever, we moved to Samoa. And my dad was still, makula, right? He was just not that type of person. Living on Makai Ah. And so I think when it was later on, so you still have that feeling of it's not comfortable or whatever. Not the same feeling you had with your mom's family. But it's better late than never. So thankful that the Oloie title was offered. Thankful to Utu. Rest in peace, Abe Malai, for his, thinking about us before offering it out to the rest of the family. And just thankful how everything went. And right now, I can't, imagine myself without the title, without the exposure has gotten me, the opportunity has gotten me to serve the Utu family, to be a part of the family. It's something I'm very proud of. And so I just think it's something, if you were given that opportunity, don't rush to say no. Usually it doesn't come that way. Usually right? Ai ama wa fau mai se ka ngā ka whunga le a ki oe po uso ko whawhinge I se swafa makai. I would say before, don't rush to say no. Don't rush to say yes either. Just tell them, oh, give me a few days to think about it. And you pray on it. Pray about it. Talk to your spouse about it. Talk to your siblings about it. Talk to your parents about it if they're still around. Get some advice. And I would highly recommend that you take that opportunity. It's not, to be whatever, hey, all Matai. It's the opportunity to serve. And that's probably the biggest one. Lewa ngoe ki kaukua wha makai I ko kongo lo ai. Iei se leo o oe, I le whakama le represent oe. e se leo ko kongu la ainga. Awa ele mwhainga e kaukala mai kua, right? Ainga uma, ele makai. Ke leo o kongu sa whainga. Ma ele mwhainga e kaukala. That's the perks, the benefits of being a Matai. If you're not a Matai, then just sit in the back and be quiet, right? Yeah, we see ainga, yeah. Vama moe vapeo la koe makua and all this and all that. Yeah, ku ye se ainga po la le whainga. Yeah, ai ai au le sau whainga ngā. Ke wha manga whakari. Mo le o se makai. O soli le ainga. Ke le songa kaukala mai. You know, that's how it should be. Because if you're not willing to be a Matai, then you don't get to speak inside the family, right? That's, again, it's one of the perks and the benefits of being a Matai is you're in the circle and you're part of this planning. You're part of the game plan. You're part of the ones who make it happen. E se lau malolosi le kua ngā o ma ngā sese ma whai uma mea. E se aku la whale ngofu a whali polo le luma. Poi kau kua inga le sa o la inga ma langa sa wanga po la me mga oi sa. Ma konga e luma mea. So, just a lesson for this story. Just wanted to share that personal story. Very proud of the Oloie title, very proud of the opportunity, and thankful to God for how it all came about. And just a lesson to you guys out there. You have the opportunity to get a title. Don't get it just to have the title, but get it and then serve respectfully, serve with diligence, serve with dignity. Do the best you can. Pae ainga ma foi kaule leer ko ainga ngu kalesia, all that good stuff. All right. So next session for Aganu'u Faasoa. If you haven't subscribed yet, you see the link in the description down here. If you like this video, go ahead and click on that like, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you on the next one. Ya manguia le pa mga kuinga le asfa ngau le malo maleke lua salau lima sfur kausanga. Have a happy 4th of July, Independence Day, celebrating 250 years of this great nation. Be safe out there. It is super hot out here in the East Coast, heat wave, so stay cool. Ya ko ngai Samoa ma isi skeke po fe lava. Ya manguia lava le ngeaso o whanga uma soifua mai manguia.